Step by step on business. That's on my mama, watch me spin on me and split, now I can't feel it. We in the trap, we sold the city on my biddy. Take these diamonds off and show you how we lit it.
Welcome back to another episode of Before the Horn podcast. This is episode 54. As you know, I'm your host, Khalil. With me, as always, I got my guy, Daewon.
Let's go. Episode 5-4. Let's get it.
Yes, sir. Dennis can't be with us for a little while. He got spring ball going on. So it's probably going to be me and Daewon and probably a couple guests over the next couple of weeks. But sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. As you know, we got a lot to talk about, starting with around the Hardwood. There's a lot of games that's happened over the weekend that we have to discuss, a few teams that we have to discuss as we're making that push for the playoffs. And you know that we got to get into the March Madness tournament. Round 64 and the round of 32 is now in the books. So we got to talk about what we've seen over the past 4 days of basketball action. And looking forward, the NFL has now officially banned the hip drop tackle. So now we're going to give our opinions on that and how we feel about that and what we see going forward for football. But without further ado, take it away, Daewon.
Hey, let's get it. Episode 5-4. Just like Khalil said, we got to kick it off, starting off with our segment Around the Hardwood, where we talk about the past couple days worth of NBA games and give our live action. We're going to travel back to Thursday night as we saw the Orlando Magic defeat the New Orleans Pelicans 121-106. What do you think about and see from this game, bro?
I'm not gonna lie, I feel like this team has not gotten enough love all season. That's the Orlando Magics. They are playing very, very good basketball. You know how we've been raving about the OKC Thunder and how ahead of schedule that, you know, their young guys is, them being first in the West. I feel the same way about this Magic teams. I feel like they're ahead of schedule when you really look at it. I feel like Paolo Banchero does not get enough love, as he was just a number 1 overall pick, rookie of the year, and a first-time All-Star this year. Looking at the game against the Pelicans, he balled out with a 20-point triple-double, 11 assists, and 10 rebounds. And then you got 22 from Jalen Suggs. You got another 18 from Franz Wagner. These guys can hoop. I'm not going to lie. They got a lot of young guys that can get up and down the floor and that can hoop. And looking at this Pelicans team, they just kind of came out lackluster. I'm not going to lie. I like what I've been seeing from Zion. Don't get me wrong. I feel like this Pelicans team is on the right track as well. I feel like that's another team that don't get enough love. Herbert Jones, one of the best defenders and all-ball defenders in all of the NBA right now. He's been locking up a lot of guys, but he just couldn't in this one. But these are two teams that can cause a lot of issues for a lot of people, especially, you know, the Magic came out here and won by 15 at home. So it was a very, very dominant win by them. But looking ahead, like I said, these are two teams that come playoff times. I don't think they could go too far, but they could be some matchup issues for a couple of opponents depending on who they face in that first round, as they're both sitting in the 5th seed right now in their respective conferences.
You know, I was going to bring that up. The way you ended off is the way I was going to transition into when it comes to my turn. But the Magic, they might be a first round exit, but whoever they see in the first round, you're going to get that work. I'm telling you that right now. This team is not a slouch whatsoever. Bring up Paolo Banchero and how Jalen Suggs, they just mesh well together. And this whole start lineup, Franz Wagner, he's contributing as well. He's been solid in my opinion. The bench is solid too, with Wagner brother on the bench and Markelle Fultz. I mean, I wouldn't expect him to be on the bench at this point in his career, but whatever. And then Cole Anthony off the bench, he's solid as well. So this is a solid Magic team. This is a sneaky team that creep up on you, like Khalil said, and I'm excited to see what they do when they make the playoffs. Now for the Pelicans, again, they're in the Morris Scott Conference, but both of the teams have identical records. But the Pelicans just didn't do enough, in my opinion, in this game, and it came back to bite them. Magic definitely defended the home court there at the Kia Center, and they're going to be a fun team to watch. Both of these teams are going to be a fun team to watch, but in my opinion, they're both first-round exits, but who knows what can happen. I love how the Orlando Magic been playing basketball this whole year so far.
I just say right now, you know, the Pelicans would be facing the Clippers, and the Magic would be facing the Knicks. In your opinion, who has the best chance of making it out of first round out of those two? If the playoffs was to start today with the matchups they have on the board.
Pelicans, Clippers, Magic, Knicks. Oof. I'm going to say the Magic due to the fact that the Clippers are a better, well-rounded team. But the Pelicans can get the Clippers up out of here. We've seen it before. The Clippers can definitely get got. I can see it happening, but I don't think it's going to happen. Now, the Knicks, on the other hand, the Knicks, really, really good team. definitely came up the last handful of years. Love the way Jalen Brunson been playing this whole year. Josh Hartman's a really good contribution as well to the team, led by a great head coach as well. So I'm gonna say that the Pelicans have a harder chance of making it to the second round than the Magic do making it out the first round.
I'm gonna go Magics as well. Reason being, I feel like both teams has a player that I do not trust. With New York being Julius Randle, and with honestly, I don't really trust anybody besides Kawhi. I'm gonna be honest. Paul George, he can have his spurts. We already know what playoff James Harden has been for his whole career. But I just feel like, as a matchup, I think Orlando Magic is better suited with their guard play that they have as well as their wing play. I think, they match up very, very well across the board. And in a 7-game series, who knows what can happen? Right now, they're half a game apart. So who knows who has that home court advantage? And, that might be a player factor at the end of the day.
Might be. All right, let's move on to Saturday's game. As we saw the Houston Rockets, who are making some noise right now, they defeated the Utah Jazz 147-119.
Looking at that game, you had Jalen Green that scored 41 points in that, as well as Fred VanVleet that chipped in with another 34. And what is crazy is they've been doing this run arguably without their best player, Sengun, who a lot of people have thought been their best player. But since he's been out, Jalen Green has been on a tear. When you look at his last 5 games, he's had 37, 26, 42, 26, and 41. I don't know, baby, something about having a baby on the way. Or a couple. I don't know. I don't know about the allegations.
Baby Jalen Green. Baby Jalen Green. He a different breed.
Listen, allegedly, he already got one and got 2 more on the way, allegedly. But we know he got 1 on the way. But ever since then, he been hooping. I ain't gonna lie. And
been hooping.
This is what they've been looking for since they have drafted him as high as they did. To be that guy. They had a lot of high draft picks. We talk about him. Jabari Smith, who did not really have a good game, 5 points in 9 minutes. He got hurt, so he left the game early. The Thompson twin as well is another guy you look at. He's a rookie, but that's another guy you're trying to build around at this point, along with Sengun. And then you got Dylan Brooks and Fred VanVleet as a veteran presence. And I think Dylan Brooks brings a toughness and a hard-nosed to his team, along with Ime Udoka as the coach. And Dylan Brooks could be that player on the court that Ime Udoka is as a coach on the sideline. And I think, this is a team that's just coming together at the right time. They won 10 of the last 11 games. And all I'm going to say, don't look now. Golden State, they're only a game back. They're only a game back right now out of that 10th spot for the play-in. And we're going to dive into Golden State in a little bit. But I'm not going to lie. This team keep rolling how they rolling. They could probably sneak into that play-in tournament. I'm not going to lie.
You bring up Jalen Green. He's been on a tear these last handful of games. Like you said, bro, I don't know if it's the kids on the way or the babies, or I don't know if it's that Dre Michelle, pom pom. I don't know if it's none of that. I'm just saying, hey, YouTube, sorry if I violated any guidelines there. I don't think I did, but don't take down this video. But I'm just saying, man, this man Jalen Green dropped the 41 piece, and then VanVleet turned the clock back a bit. He's a great contributor as well. As much as I am not a big fan of Dylan Brooks, he's one of the best defenders in this league, without a doubt.
Wait, can you say that one more time?
No, I'm not repeating myself, bro. You know about to
I missed you.
No.
You was breaking up, bro.
Okay, cool. Y'all didn't hear that.
What you say about Dylan Brooks?
Anyway, great. Jeff Green.
$80 million are worth it?
Stop it. No, it was not worth it that much. No. No. Stop it. See, now you trying to do too much. See, you're doing too much now. I'm not doing that.
You just called him one of the best defenders and say 20 million. He's not worth 20 million.
Nope.
When Jaylen Brown's making 60.
Jaylen Brown is a all NBA multiple.
Okay, he's making a third of what he's making. But continue.
Don't start, bro. Jeff Green with his veteran presence dropped 21 off the bench. Just like Khalil said, don't look back. This is a great led head coach team, the Houston Rockets, by Ime Udoka. If Rockets somehow get a playoffs, which I said in the beginning of the season, before the season started, they are a sleeper playoff team for me. I said this. If they somehow get a playoffs, I'll be excited to see it. But this is great for Houston Rockets. 10 out of the last 11. They just got to keep it going. And, hey, Golden State, Draymond, you might want to wake up and start caring, bro. This young team is on your heels. All right, let's move on to Sunday's game. First game we're going to talk about is the Philadelphia 76ers. They defeated the Los Angeles Clippers 121-107.
This was the first wire-to-wire win by the Sixers since Embiid went down and Embiid been out. It was the first time they came out, ran the table. And then this is just another Sunday afternoon loss for the Clippers. I mean, at some point you got to get up for these games. And, like, don't get me wrong, like, you got Paul George, James Harden, and Kawhi Leonard all there. There's no reason why you lose to a Joel Embiid-less 76ers team on your home court. Like, that just does not make any sense to me. You know, Kawhi Leonard, he shot 7 for 16. Paul George shot 7 for 15. James Harden shot 5 for 13, 0 for 6 from the three. He did have 14 assists, but he just did not shoot efficiently enough for me. And like, I don't like this is why I don't love the Clippers. Like,
I agree.
I can't. I'm not going to do it. If somebody else want to, root for the Clippers, think it's going to be different. But the Clippers has always been the Clippers. So I'm not falling for the bait. I'm not falling for the trap. But, this was a good all-around game. Tyrese Maxey had 24. Tobias Harris had 24. You had Campaign chipping in with 23 off the bench. And like I said, bro, like, what is it about this Clippers team that they just cannot get up for these Saturday afternoon games? I don't want to, like, and I get it. They're better.
Don't say nobody no time difference. I want to hear nobody no time change.
And I guess it's throwing off their rhythm or whatever because they playing in the afternoon instead of at night, whatever the case may be. But you're a veteran. It's not the first time you had to play an afternoon game. So, like, I don't want to hear that. But what do you think it is about this team?
Bro, and that's why we asked me about who will be a tougher out, the Pelicans or the Clippers or the Knicks and the Magic. It was tough for me to decide that question because, just like you said, the Clippers are capable of being folders. They are. And I agree with you. The only player I love on that team is Kawhi Leonard. I'm not the biggest fan of Paul George anymore. Never really was a big fan of James Harden. This is not James Harden from 2014 to 2019. Those days are gone. And if Russell Westbrook, when healthy, I'm not the biggest fan of him. I respect his accolades, but as a player these days, no. The Clippers, they're just folders. They're just natural folders. They've been like this even before this team was built. They've been like this years ago, Lob City days, before the Lob City days. It's just been like this. So I don't know what it is, but losing to a Joel Embiid-less Philadelphia 76ers is crazy work. It's crazy work. And this not me disrespecting the Sixers. It's just like the Clippers. I'm not saying the Clippers were supposed to wipe the floor with the Sixers, but
it wasn't supposed to. They never led. It was never a game. They never led.
You go there, you lose by double digits on your home court. So it's like, nah, bad outing by the Clippers.
Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, bro, I'm not big on the Clippers. You could fall in love with what they got on paper with James Harden and Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, but I'm just not. Like, they're all not that reliable when it comes to playoff time, especially, when we talk about them either not being there or just not showing up in James Harden case. So, like, yeah, it is what it is, honestly. I could care. Like, I don't think they're going to do anything come playoff time.
Most definitely. All right, let's move on to another game from that same day. The Los Angeles Lakers have produced their highest scoring performance in 37 years with a 150-145 victory over the Indiana Pacers, led by AD's 36 points and 16 rebounds.
Okay. You can look at this one of two ways. You can look at this as a team that put up 150 points and, won a basketball game, 150 points in regulation as well, which is kind of crazy. And, came out with the win. Or you can look at the team that gave up 145 points. And I'm going to focus on the latter. I'm going to be honest. I'm sorry. I get it. AD had the monster game, 15 for 21. 15 for 21, 36 points, 16 rebounds. You had LeBron and Dinwiddie with 26 apiece, Reeves with 25. But I could care less. Not when this team has been a team that's been built on defense. And Anthony Davis, I get that you had 36 and 16, but Siakam had 36 and 12, so y'all pretty much void each other in that case. Like, y'all pretty much null and void at that position. I think this is more on what Halliburton has been in the slump. Like, he has just not been playing good.
He's not playing good at all.
He did have 10 assists, but he only gave 12 points. He had the least amount of points out of the starters. Nembhard had 15. Nesmith had 13. Turner had 20, and I mentioned Siakam with the 36. But this is just piss poor defense all around, both sides. But we already knew the Pacers really don't play defense. Their thing they want to do is get out on transition, get up and down the floor. The thing that the
That's pretty
Lakers
much how
has
they've
been known at is being a defensive team. When you talk about Hachimura, who can sit in a chair, Anthony Davis, who's supposed to be one of the best big men, Taurean Prince is supposed to be a defensive guy. Like, Dinwiddie's supposed to be a two-way guy. But, like, I could care less because I don't see the Lakers replicating this on a night-in, night-out basis of scoring a lot of points to outscore the teams when they're one of the lowest scorer teams in the NBA. So I'm more discouraged on the defense than I am encouraged on the offense. I'm be honest with you. And that's maybe me being a glass half empty guy, but that's just me being realistic.
No, I'm gonna say you're not being a glass half empty guy because I'm on the same page as you. Hey, good job scoring 150, but you let the Pacers drop 145 on you. That's what I'm saying. That's my argument. The NBA has no defense anymore. We've seen players drop high scoring points in games and stuff, and these scores be outrageous. Like there is 295 points scored in this game. What in the world? Like, bro, what's going on? Like, Lakers, y'all defense got to be simply better. Don't know what you're getting out of this, but Lakers, y'all defense got to be better. Because if Tyrese Halliburton dropped more than freaking 12 points, this has been a whole different outcome. And the Pacers right now, they're a playoff team. They're a fifth seed in the East. They're not a great fifth seed, but they're a solid fifth seed. They pushed the Lakers to the limit, and Lakers almost collapsed and folded. But hey, great game by AD, LeBron, AR, and Dinwiddie. I'm not really too excited about this win for the Lakers because y'all play a horrible defense. Y'all had good offense, but y'all play a horrible defense. So kind of a lose-lose in my opinion, but y'all still got to win at the end of the day.
Question for you. So be it the Lakers are sitting out right now 39-32, and the team ahead of them is 41-29 in the Dallas Mavericks. Do you see a chance of them making it out that 9 slot to a 7-8 spot? So that way, even if they lose one playing game, they got another? Or do you see them having to win 2 games regardless and staying in that 9 spot?
Well, let's look at their schedule again. They got 11 games left. You got the Bucks on Tuesday night. You're probably going to lose. Grizzlies, Pacers again. You got the Nets. Then the Raptors, Wizards, Cavs, Timberwolves, Warriors, Grizzlies, Pelicans at the end of the season. That's not an easy schedule, but it's not a hard schedule, as anything can happen on any given night. But still, like Lakers, they got to be better if they want to get out that 9th seed. But I think they're going to probably stay there.
Yeah, I could agree with that. You mentioned who the Lakers had coming up, and you know their last 11 games, as well as the Mavs, who have 12 games left. They're playing tonight right now against the Jazz. They're down by 4, but you know whatever can happen. They still have they have the Kings on a back-to-back. They have the Red Hot Rockets as well coming up, which won't be an easy game. You got the Warriors, who we're going to talk about in a little minute, twice upcoming in the season. You got the Hawks in between the Warriors, Rockets again, who's been playing for their playoff life, Hornets, Heat, Pistons, and then you ended off with the Thunder. And given the standards, maybe the Thunder don't play their starters, but
maybe
I can see the situation where this comes down to the wire and that last game be important on both sides.
Now let's talk about the last game we will talk about for the segment. The Minnesota Timberwolves, they defeated the Golden State Warriors 114-110. Bro, what's up with these GS Warriors, man?
What do you mean what's up with it, man? This are you expecting more? Like, did I miss something? Like, did Klay turn back the time? Like, Klay did not have a good game. He shot 3 from 11 for 3, 6 for 15, 16 points off the bench. You know, he is on the bench to the rookie. I don't know how to say his last name, first name Brandon. He only gave him 7 points as a starter. Steph do what Steph do. He had 31. Andrew Wiggins chipped in with 15, which was pretty solid. Kuminga 14. We probably want to see a little bit more out of Kuminga, but yeah. You know he did have 14.
He been having a solid year though. Kuminga, he been having a solid year.
Yeah, but like just on a consistent basis. You got Draymond, who gave you 12 points. I don't know how much more you're going to ask for Draymond. If he gives you double digits, that's more than enough. But on the other end, you had Nas Reed go for 50, Jersey. And Anthony Edwards had 23. Gobert had 17. Conley had 14. You had 10 off the bench from Kyle Anderson, another 11 from N'Keal Alexander off the bench. I mean, the Timberwolves are just a better team all around. But like we was talking about earlier with this Rockets team, Golden State could be in some trouble if they don't tighten it up. And we're gonna dive into the comments from Day One's favorite player in the NBA in a little minute. But I just want to hear your opinion on this game before we dive into all that.
You know what? I don't know why you starting with me so much tonight, honestly. I really don't know why, but I'm gonna let you rock. I'm gonna let you rock for now. I'm gonna keep it
Talk
short and
about
sweet.
two of your favorite players in the NBA, Dylan Brooks.
Relax, please. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet though. If the Warriors want to see success, in my opinion, I know Chris Paul went down with an injury and everything, but he's back. Put him back in the start lineup because Brandon Pozeminski is not contributing enough, in my opinion, to start lineup. It's been Steph and Kuminga, and that's it. Like Wiggins, he's a solid defender, but like, come on, Wig, like, dog, what is up with this Warriors team? The Warriors are damn near about to be out the playoffs. I don't care what anyone says, but it's just bad. And then the Timberwolves dropped a season high 21 3-pointers on the Warriors head top. I just keep it real, bro. About this Warriors team, their window's been closed. The dynasty's been over. This don't look like the same Warriors team. Steve Curry even said it like, yo, Steph Curry can't keep carrying his team. And that's what he's been doing. It's just too much. But for Wolves, again, a top team in the West, the Warriors should have brought their A game, but they didn't. They lost by 4, but that was happening when you start off slow. The Wolves, again, they're a great team in the West. You got to bring your A game when you playing them. But I'm pretty much just talking about the Warriors for this one because it's just, I'm not really surprised by the Wolves here. They won by 4, but a win is a win. But the Warriors, they just got to be better. But what was you about to get into about my quote unquote favorite player in the NBA?
I don't know if you've seen the press conference from the one and only Draymond Green while he was wearing the Draymond Green show hat. I know you watch the show a lot, so I know you're a big fan of that show. He's wearing a hat actually sponsoring it as he was talking about it. But they asked him a question, being that the Rockets are one game back of them right now. Is he worried that the Rockets going to catch him? And he pretty much says he's not worried about the Rockets, that he's pretty much writing them off and doesn't see them as a threat to take over that 10th seed. How do you feel about those comments, Daewon?
Draymond, please get out the league, bro. When my boy Tia2 was on an earlier episode, I kept saying Draymond needs to be suspended for more than 25 games for his incident when he elbowed dude in the neck. Draymond just be on his podcast just chatting, yapping it up. But he's only talking like that because he know it gets views, it gets attention. Draymond, for a person that just does this when you guys losing, or another younger player comes and try to one up you and Clay, y'all to do this. Y'all throw your little fours up, y'all make threats, y'all make faces, y'all act like little ass divas. I never liked Draymond Green. I respect his defense, I respect his accolades, but him as an individual and as a player, I don't like him whatsoever. I respect his tenacity, but his tenacity be erratic as fuck. Like, let's be real. That shit is annoying to watch. And his comments, I'm not worried about the Rockets. Buddy, if your dynasty is so-called quote-unquote continuing, you might want to be worried because you guys are damn near a couple games, 1 or 2 games out of the play-in. You guys aren't even good to make it out of the play-in spots. Bro, you're in 10th place in the West right now. Your time's up. So you might want to be worried. So put the microphone down, put the Bluetooth headphones down, go on the court, run some more suicides, and let's get some wins.
Wait, but I thought you liked his podcast.
Khalil, stop playing on me.
So who do you see getting that 10th seed? The way it's set right now, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Warriors have the 25th hardest schedule, which will make it one of the easier schedules coming down the stretch. Just looking at who they got the Heat on Tuesday night, Magic, Hornets, Spurs to end off the month of March, as well as looking to what they got in April. They have the Mavs twice with the Rockets right in between, which is kind of a tough stretch. The Jazz twice, Pelicans, Lakers, and Trailblazers. Do you think they hold on to that 10th spot, or do you think they give it to the Rockets?
That's tough because the Rockets have been really on a roll. But again, only thing I trust in the Rockets is the experience as a head coach, Ime Udoka. The Warriors have the experience; they just haven't been putting together lately, which is very scary. But again, I'm not surprised. At the same time, though, I can't give the Rockets enough trust. I can't. I'm gonna say the Warriors can hang on and get the 10th seed, but they're probably not gonna make it out of the play-in games. So whatever.
I mean, looking at the Rockets schedule and who they have as well, they're playing the Trailblazers tonight. They're up by 9 at the end of the third quarter, so I think they'll probably hold on to win that game. You got the Thunder, Jazz, and Mavs to finish out the month of March. Those are no gimmies. And then you got the Timberwolves, Warriors, Heat, Mavs, again, the Magics, Jazz, Trailblazers, Clippers. So they got a really tough road if they want to get there. But like I said, this team has been rolling, so I wouldn't be surprised if they did. But I'm gonna take the Warriors because they got the easiest schedule and they got the veteran presence. I think it's really gonna come down to that game, April 4th, when they see each other head to head. I think that might make the difference right there. But I got the Warriors hanging on, but the Warriors need to relax and tighten it up because I'm
They
being honest,
do.
I don't actually see them getting into the playoffs. Playing is as far as they go, in my personal opinion.
Honestly. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for that segment around the hardwood. Give us your thoughts and opinions about the latest games that we covered. Do you guys think the Houston Rockets can sneak in into the play-in, or do you guys think the Warriors can hold on to it? Also, what are your thoughts and opinions about the Lakers letting up 145 to the Pacers? Are you impressed by the Lakers' big win, or are you more or less impressed that they let 145 up? Also, how do you guys feel about the Los Angeles Clippers? Do you guys think they're playoff frauds, or do you guys think they're actually legit and can make a playoff run? Leave that all in the comment section below. All right, let's move on to the next topic for the night. March Madness is still going on. Hey, Khalil, let's talk about it, man. It's been some great games happening over the weekend. We are now into the Sweet 16. We're going to cover what happened prior to the Sweet 16.
I don't know about y'all teams, but my team got a game this upcoming weekend. I don't know about y'all. Especially, I ain't going to come at too many people, Florida State. But, keep going, Day One.
Well, just like we did in the previous episode, we're going to stick with the round of 64. Let's start off with the East bracket first. Let's touch up on it. Timeout. Oh, no.
No Diddy. No Diddy.
No Diddy. No Diddy. No Diddy. No Diddy.
No Diddy gang. You rolling.
No Diddy.
UConn came out as the number one overall seed, did what they had to do. FAU Northwestern. I did pick FAU to win that, but Northwestern came out on top to move on to the round of 32. But the two biggest ones that we got to talk about is Yale with the upset of Auburn, which is who are the SEC champions, and the Ivy League champions came out and beat them in a nail biter close game. It was a very, very close game that came down to the wire. That seen Yale come on top, 78-76, as well as the Duquesne Dukes upsetting BYU. And another close game, 71-67, where Duquesne just came out and really just outplayed them. Was a very scrappy team who showed fight. And this was one of the teams that a lot of people like coming into the playoffs. I mean, not the playoffs, into the tournament, whether it was because LeBron is LeBron James' former head coach, whatever the case may be. But they play like they have something to play for. Their coach is retiring after this year, so they were trying to leave it all out there for them and do what they had to do. Other than that, Washington State takes care of Drake, Illinois takes care of Morehead State, and Iowa takes care of South Dakota State with ease. That set up the round of 32 games. UConn, like I said, went out there, took care of business of Northwestern, as well as San Diego State pretty much wiped out, the Ivy League school, and Yale, as well as Illinois, took care of business as they should against Duquesne, and the Iowa State came out on top against Washington State. So all the favorites within that round of 32 came out on top to set up UConn versus San Diego State and Illinois versus Iowa in the round of 16.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm not really surprised by the games that happened here. I knew UConn was going to wipe the floor with Northwestern, honestly. San Diego State, I expected them to beat Yale. Yale luckily got there, but again, it's March Madness. Anything can happen. So I know San Diego State was a better team. I knew they're going to beat Yale. Duquesne, sadly to see it, but Illinois is just a much better team. Let's be real. And then Iowa State, they handled Washington State pretty well. So all those games I pretty much expected. I'm just excited for the Sweet 16 for this bracket for sure. All right, let's move on to the West region of the bracket. North Carolina, they handled Wagner pretty easily. We talked about that game already. Michigan State, they handled Mississippi State pretty easily. I mean, they won by 18. That was a really solid game. Grand Canyon, the Lobes, they defeated St. Mary's. They came out firing. That was a really excited win for Grand Canyon. They were definitely a big underdog. Straight out of Phoenix, for real. I'm really surprised how Alabama dropped 109 against Charleston, but that was a high-scoring game in general. Very offensive in that game. But then we saw Clemson defeat New Mexico, as expected. Baylor defeated Colgate. Really, really good win by Baylor. They did what they had to do. Dayton, they barely hang on. They survived to beat Nevada. That was a really close one, but Dayton got to tighten up. But we're going to talk about Dayton a little bit as well. And as expected, Arizona defeated Long Beach State.
I think one of the biggest things, like the only real big upset that happened was the Grand Canyon over St. Mary. When St. Mary has been one of the better teams in the West Coast Conference, that same conference, with Gonzaga, them boys, they've been right up there with them, and they haven't been on Gonzaga level, but they're giving Gonzaga problems. They get bumped out in the first round to mid-major in Grand Canyon University, which is a big win from them. I did have Michigan State upsetting Mississippi State within the first round. So I predicted that correct. As well, pretty much everything else played out exactly. Higher seed won, Arizona won, Dayton won, Baylor won, Clemson won, Bama won handily. And then you look over to the second round, the round of 32, North Carolina went out there and took care of business against Michigan State. They showed that there was a legit contending team, as well as Alabama. With their guard play, they were just a better all around team than GCU. The score looked close. 11 points is not too big of a loss, but they pretty much dominated. They were pretty much dominated from start to finish. I didn't really see that game getting out of hand. As well as Clemson. Baylor tried to fight back sometimes, but Clemson never relinquished that lead and laid down a ball game. They pulled away to get the dub 72-64, as well as Arizona doing what they got to do, looking like one of the best teams in college. Caleb Love has been balling to set up the matchup of North Carolina versus Alabama and Clemson versus Arizona within the Sweet 16.
All right, let's move on to the South Regional bracket in the March Madness tournament. We saw Houston defeat Longwood pretty easily. That was a wipe the floor win. Nebraska, they lost to Texas A&M. A&M, they came out swinging. They got that big win. James Madison, JMU, the Dukes, they knocked off the Wisconsin Badgers. Big upset win as they move on. Duke, as expectedly, they beat Vermont by 17 points.
What happened?
They beat Vermont. Why are you surprised? I picked Duke to make it out this region. Relax, bro.
Keep going. I just wanted to hear it.
Chill out, man. We saw NC State also defeat Texas Tech. NC State, they came out, they played hard. They never really had a lead. The game was kind of neck to neck, and then they pulled away in the second half. Kentucky, they lost to Oakland. Such a heartbreaking loss. Kentucky, their defense been sus. Again, we addressed this already previously, but this is just a disappointing loss. They lost to 14th ranked Oakland. Also, Colorado, in a close game, they defeated Florida 102-100. Another high-scoring game of this first round so far, round of 64. And then Marquette, they hang on, knocked off Western Kentucky. So in the round of 32, Houston, in another high-scoring game, they hanged on and they defeated Texas A&M in overtime. That was a great game to watch. Y'all got to tap in. We saw the James Madison Dukes. They got knocked off by Duke. James Madison Cinderella Hopes came down, crashing down to it, and big win by Duke. Then in overtime again, we saw NC State knock off Oakland. That was a great game to watch as well. NC State hung on. Oakland's been really a tough outing for any team that they've seen so far, but they came all crashing down in overtime. Then Colorado, they lost as well to Marquette, so Marquette moves on.
So biggest thing about the South region in the round of 64, out of the 8 games, 5 of them, the lower seed came out victorious. JMU upset at Wisconsin, who I kind of like coming into the tournament, especially against James Madison. I thought I would see a Duke and Wisconsin matchup. I kind of, projected that to happen, but it didn't. Houston took care of 40-point blowout Longwood. I mean, they did what they had to do pretty much. Texas Tech was another team I was high on coming into the tournament that I thought could make a little run. And they got out there and got nixed by DJ Burns and NC State. NC State has been on the tear as of late, as they won five games in 5 days to win the ACC tournament as a team that was barely about to make it in. Who needed to win the ACC just to get in here, but they did what they had to do to get in here. Oakland knocks off Kentucky. Shepard and Dillingham has been 2 of the most electric freshmen in all of the nation who've come off the bench and have been electrifying for this Kentucky team. And they just failed to get it done. They got that boy, right. Jack Goki, however you say his name. Listen, that boy ain't going to shoot anything. He ain't going to shoot anything inside that line. Anything coming from outside
Everything coming outside the arc.
He shot 10 for 20, all threes. Gave him 32 points. He like hand down, man down. That's the definition of a guy like this. It was hand down, man down all day with him. He just caused problems. Colorado went out there in a very, very high-scoring game, 102-100 win over Florida, a Florida team who's been kind of underwhelming, in my personal opinion. Looking at them in the SEC, I get it. They made a run in the SEC tournament. I believe they got to the SEC championship. But I just really wasn't never high on Florida, if I'm being honest. Marquette go out there, do what they had to do, and handle Western Kentucky as they should have. And then when you look at what happened in the round of 32, Houston is up by 12 with a minute and 24 left to go. They're up by 12 in full control of the game. And Texas A&M finds a way to get it into overtime. Sadly, they couldn't
That's
hold
crazy.
on.
They could hold on, but
They couldn't
still,
finish the deal. They could not finish
they
the
got
deal
there.
and get over the hump. But they pushed this Houston team to the limits, and it was a bad showing. Poor clock performance at the end of the game for a Houston team. I'm not going to lie. Duke, Jerry McCain came out 22 points early and never looked back. That Duke team just never looked back. They were far better than far way superior than JMU, as well as NC State versus Oakland. This one had my heart in pieces, bro.
I was on the edge of my seat.
Really, like, I didn't know. I really, like, these are two Cinderella teams, and you know one of them was going to win. You just did not know which one.
Ooh.
Jack Goki off the bench, he shot 6 for 17, so he wasn't as efficient as he was, but he did make some big threes late in that ball game to push this team into overtime against NC State. And I got to give love to Trey Townsend, who absolutely balled out, had 30 and 13, was really giving them a matchup problem. But they couldn't do nothing with that big boy in the middle, DJ Burns. I mean, he had 24-11. Like, they
he don't look like he should be playing football. He don't look like he should be playing basketball, bro.
Playing basketball, bro.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
He's a defensive tackle playing basketball, bro. And honestly, this was a great game. Whoever won, I was gonna be sad for the other one, but it was all a great game. I couldn't ask for nothing more. And Marquette went out there and beat Colorado by 4. That sets up the matchup between Houston at number 1 and Duke number 4, and NC State at 11 and Marquette number 2 in the round of 16.
All right, now let's move on to the last region of this bracket, the Midwest region. Round of 64, let's kick it off. As expected, Purdue handled Grambling. They beat them by 28. Utah State, the Aggies, they defeated the Horned Frogs 88-72. Good game for Utah State. Gonzaga, as expected, they defeated McNeese. I'm not going to really go into that. Kansas, they defeated Samford. There was some concerns in that game. I saw some weaknesses in Kansas, I'm not going to lie. Oregon, they defeated South Carolina to make it into the next round. Creighton, they handled business against Akron. Texas handled business against Colorado, but it was only by 12 and it was a low-scoring game. And then the Volunteers, they easily defeated St. Peter's.
Babies. My Cinderella babies.
They handled easily. Big time. Moving to the round of 32, Purdue easily handled Utah State. Big win. Then we also saw Gonzaga. They knocked off Kansas. That's what I'm saying. I saw the cracks in Kansas' frames. I seen it. I knew they was going to get got, and they got in the second round. Then the second overtime, Creighton, they knocked off the Oregon Ducks. They beat them by 13, but it took 2 overtime to do it. And then Texas, they fell to Tennessee.
Looking at the Midwest region, like you kind of mentioned, Purdue, we talked about Purdue on Thursday. Episode dropped on Friday. And we said this is one of them teams, they're either going to be a folding team or they're going to be the Virginia team, you know, when we seen them get knocked off and by a 16 seed and come around the next year and win a natty. And they come out there and handle Grambling HBCU by 28 points. Utah State beats TCU by 16. Gonzaga blows out McNeese. Kansas got bailed out because that was a block. That was not a foul. That was a block. Kansas got bailed out to beat Samford by 4. I think Samford got robbed with that foul call. That wasn't a foul.
They did.
Oregon.
They definitely got robbed.
They definitely did. Oregon upstate South Carolina by 14. Big 6-11 matchup. Oregon is a very frisky team. I like them. I like them being a matchup problem for some teams coming into this tournament. And you know, they go out there and beat South Carolina. Creighton, my team that I picked to make the Final Four, handles Akron by 17. Texas beats Colorado State, and Tennessee claps St. Peter's badly, man. That was my Cinderella babies just because they're from Jersey, but they got up out of there real quick. And on to the round of 32, Purdue is having to make a statement. They did not just beat Utah State. They beat Utah State by 39. They said it's levels to this, and y'all are not.
You're not there.
Right now. When we talk about who's playing some of the best basketball in college in the tournament right now, Purdue is up there with all of them. Purdue is up there with any of them that you want to name. If you want to put them up there with UConn, Duke, whoever the case may be. Kansas gets blown out by the Gonzaga Zags by 21 points. We have
Told you.
seen
I see
three
cracks in
of
their
the
frame.
big. It was cracks in the frame, especially when you lose McCullough, who was averaging 18 points on the season. But we have now seen three of the most prolific coaches in the college sport out before the round of 16. When we want to talk about Tom Izzo, we want to talk about Calipari, who got put out in the first round, and we talk about Bill Self. And Bill Self has some questionable comments. Talk about he's been looking forward to next season for the past month now, which is like causing concern. Like, bro, you still have a whole season that you're worried about. Talking
That's
about, yeah,
super
we
concerning.
wasn't looking forward to it during the game, but outside the game, like, bro, that's not what I want to hear from a coach, especially if I'm a player on that team. Talk about coaches looking forward to the next year. Like, coach, we in the tournament. We got to make a run. Hunter Dickerson is a senior, so he's out of there. Creighton gave me a scare in a close game with Oregon. I seen double overtime, but it got to double overtime.
They
And
pulled away.
Creighton went on a 15-2 run to pretty much close the lights out in 5 minutes to get to the Sweet 16. And you look at Tennessee, who beat Texas by 4. Texas was right there the whole time, but they could just never get over that hump. Anytime it seemed like they was going to get a little close, Darton Netsch played a big game that, you know, he's supposed to be a projected lottery pick coming up this year. So that sets up a matchup between number 1 Purdue versus number 5 Gonzaga and number 2 Tennessee versus number 3 Creighton. Question for you, Daywan.
What's up, man?
Looking at the matchups ahead before this big weekend, what are the games you looking most forward to seeing?
So the games I'm looking forward to for the Sweet 16, I'm gonna say the rematch of last year's championship, UConn and San Diego State. Hopefully, I think it's gonna be a very intense game. Hopefully, San Diego State bring all they got because UConn, again, they're big and they're strong. Pause, no Diddy. And the next game I'm looking forward to as well, I'm gonna have to go with Creighton and Tennessee. I feel like that's gonna be a really, really good game. And yeah, I'm just gonna say those two games. Those are my top 2 to watch. But all these games are great games.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of great games, but I got 2 big games I'm really looking forward to, and one is Creighton and Tennessee as well. 2 teams that have ball, and I picked Creighton to make it all the way to the Final Four. So I'm rocking with Creighton, but that's going to be some big. That's going to be a big matchup. Looking ahead to, and the other one is my boys, man. Come on, come on, man. You know I'm 10 toes down, right?
That's gonna be a good game between Houston and Duke.
Houston and Duke is going to be a bar burner. I think this is going to be a very competitive game. I got my Blue Devils coming out on top, but it's not going to be easy. It's going to take all hands on deck from Kyle Flipanowski to Jeremy Roach to Jerry McCain to Tyrese Proctor, all them guys to step up and play big. But I do see them winning that game. But there's a lot of great matchups this upcoming week. I can't wait to see what happens this weekend.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for that segment. March Madness. We covered round 64 and round 32. We are now on the Sweet 16. Sweet 16 play starts this Thursday. I'm turned up. I'm teed up. I'm just so excited. But in the comment section below, give us your thoughts on any big upsets or anything crazy that happened over these last handful of rounds of games. We want to hear that all in the comment section below. And just like the question Khalil asked, I also want to hear what games you guys are excited for the Sweet 16 round. All right, let's move on to the final topic for tonight's episode. Let's transition over to the NFL. The NFL Competition Committee has came together and they approved the ban of the swivel hip drop tackle. We've seen a lot of players get injured by this tackle, including Mark Andrews against the Cincinnati Bengals. We've seen running backs get tackled like this and they tore ACLs or broke ankles. A lot of injuries come from this tackle. And I definitely see why the owners and the committees and stuff came together and have now banned this tackle. But the players aren't too happy about this. The players vetoed against the committee trying to ban this tackle rule. Let's talk about how we both feel about this. I'm going to start this one off. As much as the players don't like it, and I see what they're saying, the NFL has definitely adhered to player safety over the last handful of years. We've seen it many years. I said last like 10, 15 years, Roger Goodell and the committees and the board have definitely tried to adhere to player safety as much as possible, prevent crazy season injuries or detrimental injuries, because we've seen crazy stuff in this sport. This is an unforgiving sport as well. It's man on man. But they're just looking out for the players, and players aren't too happy about this whatsoever. And as a spectator, I do feel like the NFL is going soft, but it's not only going to stay in the NFL. I feel like this is going to be a trickling effect. It's going to go down to the college level. in a high school level as well, possibly into the Pop Warner and PB level. I can see this happening because this injury does not just happen in the NFL. Not only in the professional league, it happens in probably the Canadian League, the UFL. This happens everywhere. So I'm not gonna lie, they just care about player safety. But we will be definitely lying, especially as spectators, if we're saying the NFL has not gotten soft. Because the players already feel that way. JJ Watt came out, Ryan Clark came out, Javon Holland came out. A lot of players are very, very unhappy about this rule. And they're saying, hey, the NFL is just gonna keep tailoring to offensive players. But let's be real, that's how it's been. But according to the people that work higher in the NFL headquarters, they think that the game has not been as offensive the last 2 years, which I can see what they're saying. A lot of games have been too much high scoring, but that just means that defense is just getting better. Defense are just adjusting to how the offense are running. So that's my opinion on the hip tackle. I think they just care about player safety more than anything. But I am gonna say, I'm gonna keep it real. It's definitely kind of ruining the game in a way. Like, I know you care about player safety, but how are players get tackled like this all the time? So you're saying if I'm a defensive end or I'm a player on defense chasing down a running back, I'm trying to tackle him like a running back like Nick Chubb, who's had many season-ending injuries. How am I going to tackle him? Do I got to try to run in front of him, or like I can't grab him from the horse collar? I can't like choke him or like grab him by the crown of his helmet or like face mask him. How am I supposed to tackle him? So it's really tough, but it's like it's just honestly too much to think about when it comes to the players and the NFL headquarters. But I feel like this rule, for safety reasons, it's in play for a reason, but it's kind of like ruining the game. So I'm just leaving it at that.
Bro, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. And I get it. Players have been getting injured off the hip drop tackle. But let me give you a scenario. You got Mark Andrews. He's 260 pounds, right? He's running ahead of you, and you're a 190-pound DB. How are you going to tackle him from behind? That's usually when a hip drop tackle is when the runner is in front of you and you're behind him. And you grab him and you drop your weight so you can stop him. That's literally what the hip drop tackle is. So you tell me how, as a defensive player, like I said, I'm a DB and this guy's 240 pounds. How am I supposed to stop him from running? How am I supposed to tackle Derrick Henry if he's in front of me?
And that's what I brought up earlier. Like, how am I supposed to get in front of him and tackle him if I can't like hip tackle, or I can't like, what you gonna do? I'm gonna just grab his ankles. He gonna keep running. He's already running at full speed. Like, grabbing his ankles gonna be hard.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. This play is absolute BS. And the only people that I see say anything good about it is the offensive players. All defensive players hate this role.
They hate it.
And the game has gotten too much offensive centric. They're catering everything to the offense at this point. And I get it. Scoring has been down a little bit, and I've seen reports that the NFL doesn't like that the scoring has went down these past couple of years. That they want the scoring up, and this is one way to do it.
Yeah,
this is one way to do it is by taking away what defense can do. Like, we're not far from two-hand touch tackle football. You already can't tackle high. You already can't tackle low. You can't duck your head down. Like, and I get some of the safety precautions that they're taking, but this is starting to get out of hand. They're trying to make the game of football too safe, and that's like saying, oh, we're trying to make MMA safe, or we're trying to make boxing safe. This is a gladiator sport.
This is all part of the game. It's all part of the game.
This is a gladiator sport. Like, the biggest thing for football was intimidation. It was big guys hitting other big guys at a full rate of speed. And we're talking about we've seen defensive linemen run 4 or 5 at 270, 290 pounds. Like, they're running full speed. There's nothing you can do when there's two guys running that fast and coming into impact. That, like, they're already trying to change the kickoff rule. I'm not the biggest fan of it. They've been tweaking with the kickoff rule.
They've been tweaking kickoff rule for mad long.
For years, and they're still trying to do it. They're pitching a new idea over this week to the competition committee. We'll see if it get passed or not. I'm not the biggest fan. It's kind of inverted between XFL and trying to keep some of the NFL kind of stuff into it, so it's not so bush leaguish. But like, one thing with that, like, oh, you got to announce when you're doing an onside kick, and you can only do an onside kick when you're down. And I get it. It's not like, oh, teams are always recovering onside kicks, but last time I checked, my team won a Super Bowl for onside kick.
Yeah, the Saints did with Gary Hartley.
Yeah, surprise! Yeah, we won a Super Bowl off that. That was pretty much the momentum turning play within the Super Bowl, and they're taking stuff like that away. And it's like, all right, like at a certain point, you're doing way too much. Like, this game is always going to be physical. Players is always going to get hurt. You cannot mitigate players getting hurt. Like, for example,
it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Nick Chubb, plays like that just happen. A player
that's why I brought him up.
His blade. Like, there's no way to avoid certain stuff like that. So, in my personal opinion, the NFL is just trying to do way too much, in my opinion. And you're turning a lot of people off in a way because, last week, the NFLPA said that they don't want to do away with it. But obviously, as you can see, they have no say in what really happens. They don't really make any rules. They don't have any say-so on what rules can happen, what rules can change. So, that was null and void. We don't care what you think. That was kind of like a FU to all the defensive players, in my personal opinion. And I can't wait to see what it looks like in this season. How players are going to tackle when there's a guy running full speed and you're chasing him from behind and he's 50, 60 pounds heavier than you. So, I don't know, man. I'm just not the biggest fan of it.
I got 2 questions for you, not just one. 2.
What's up?
My first question is, if this rule change does not work out in the future, this upcoming season or going for the future, do you ever see the NFL reverting back to the old ways of football being played, like taking this rule out that they just put in play?
No. I tell you, and the reason why they're not, because there's going to be there might be less injuries. And if the injury total is lower, the NFL did their job, and that's all they care about. At the end of the day, they care about the bottom line. It's about making money. And the best way to make money is having the stars on the field. So if you could keep a Mark Andrews on the field or a Tony Pollard on the field or players like that who, been subject to the hip job tackle and keep them happy, then no. But, there's going to be a lot of players not happy about that, but the NFL never care about that as long as they're making money. Let's be real.
That's facts. Yeah, I agree with you, bro. I was just about to say, I don't think the NFL ever going to change back to that. They did this for a reason because they want the great players on the field. It's been too many injuries, especially freak field injuries. But again, this is an injury I feel like you kind of just can't control, bro. Like, how else am I supposed to tackle a player like Nick Chubb or Derrick Henry or Mark Andrews or George Kittle? Like, this is a violent sport. It's supposed to be like this, and the NFL is definitely making it soft. I see why defense players are getting very, very upset, and it just makes sense. But my second question to you is, do you think that this rule is going to affect TV ratings for NFL?
No, not if the scoring goes up. Because I think that's what people care about at the end of the day is points being put on the board. They don't like when, the score is 17-14 final score. They like 36, 30 ball games. They like get stuff like that. They don't really they could care less for the 10-7 ball games. So I think if the scoring goes up, that's another benefit within the NFL direction. And I think, fans are going to stay tuned in. I think the only people that's going to be really pissed off is the defensive players and defensive coordinators and stuff like that. And the biggest thing is going to hurt their pockets as well, because not only do you give up a 15-yard penalty, you also get fined for it. So if it's not one thing, it's another. So.
Yeah, bro, I'm right there with you. I'm not going to lie to you. I think the ratings are going to go up because it's going to cause more offenses to be high scoring. The games are going to be much more exciting, even though, in my opinion, as a football fan, again, this is taken away from the game, but if the offense are going to be much more high scoring, I mean, I'm here for it, but you can't ruin the integrity and just the aspects of the game. I personally just think it's messing up everything.
Yeah, no. Me personally, as a guy who pretty much played defense, I don't like this at all. I'm being honest with you.
But hey, I got one more question. I'm sorry. I know I said 2, but I got one more. What I said earlier about possibly this could potentially trickle down from the NFL to the below levels, including in other leagues like the UFL or arena leagues and everything. Do you actually see that happening, or do you think it's just going to stick with the NFL?
Yeah, I think it will. Same way that we've seen with any other rule, the horse collar rule, any rule like that. Like, it starts at the highest level and trickles its way down from, lower professional leagues to, college to high school to little league. It's going to start to trickle down as it, stays in the NFL longer,
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for that topic. Give us your thoughts and opinions about the NFL banning the hip drop tackle rule. Do you guys think it's ruining the integrity and the aspects of professional football? Also, do you guys think it's going to be a trickle-down effect starting from the NFL level all the way down to the Pee Wee and Pop Warner level? And also, do you guys think this is going to affect the TV ratings for the NFL in a bad way or a good way? We want to hear all your thoughts and opinions about the hip drop tackle being banned in the comment section below. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for tonight, episode 54 of Before the Horn podcast. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, subscribe. Thank y'all for tuning in for whatever platform you guys are watching or listening to us on. We appreciate all the support. Keep rocking with us. Thank y'all for staying faithful and staying locked in. While you guys are at it, make sure you guys check out our Patreon for as little as $2 a month. You guys help us support us. That involves hitting us up, asking us any questions. Again, we'll respond to DM questions, but Patreon lets you ask the questions. We'll get to them and respond back as soon as possible. You can also help us pick out topics that we're going to talk about. Also, the Patreon helps you getting a better chance of being a guest. Also, being tapped in with us, just locked in closely. So, like I said, for as little as $2 a month, that can help us out and support on Patreon. That link will be in the description box below.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And make sure you follow us on Instagram at Before the Horn Podcast, TikTok and Twitter at Before the Horn Pod. Like I mentioned before, we got a lot of big things coming. A lot of them that we're not going to roll out until season 2. But be on the lookout for that. We got a few things in the work that we're excited about and can't wait to get out to y'all. But in the meantime, make sure you guys keep sharing. Send this to whoever, your mom, your dad, your cat, your dog, your uncle, your hamster. It don't matter. Send it out. Share.
Send it out.
Appreciate the love and the support. Till next time. Yes, sir.
Like I said, like, comment, share, subscribe. Thank y'all for tapping into Before the Horn Podcast, episode 54. We shall see you guys on the next episode. Peace.